Um, first of all, thanks to Lori for coming in to do this. She was one of the people we recognized this month as an Agent of the Month. Did you guys see we had sent out an email? Cool. There's a lot of different categories, and from that all those categories, we try to spotlight one of those leaders. And in particular, Lori was extremely generous with her knowledge and her time. So one of the questions that I get most often from brokers who are interested in looking at Kale is a lot about our rentals. And a lot of brokers can see that as a way to generate additional revenue in between sales, or maybe you do exclusively rentals. Obviously, you could do whatever you'd like as it's your own business. But a lot of times it's, what do I do? How do I build a rental business? Obviously, we've built a network of non-MLS properties that you guys have access to through that special system we use. But the biggest question I get is, how do you get your own rental listings? And that's where we wanted to talk with Lori, because that's something that she's particularly very, very strong at, among other things. So before we get started, by the way, the idea of the whole intention of this is so that you guys can learn from some of our top brokers, right? And we're going to be doing more of these. So if there are certain subjects you'd like to learn more about, let us know. We'll find a broker who's doing really well at that and hopefully convince them to come in and talk to you guys. So anyway, please, thank you, Lori, for coming in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started in real estate?
Well, I was looking to do something different. I've been worked in offices for years and years. Like I think 9 years as a paralegal for a collections firm. I was in different customer service, sales, things like that. And I figured, hey, I've lived in the city my whole life. My son now would be 5th generation. So, I definitely, know a thing or two about what it's like in the different areas and such. And like I said, I worked as a paralegal for all those years, so I know how to read between the lines of a credit and background check. So I just thought, might as well start looking at that. So last agency I was with, I was there for 4 years as a leasing agent and office manager. So that gave me lots of different backgrounds. Niche little place. So I really wanted to work with someplace bigger, and and I've been following your guys' websites and your little videos and such over the years, and I was like, they seem like genuinely nice people. So I started emailing you at the end of December, looking for a new year, new start. And I remember when I came in to sign up, and you had asked me how much I made in commissions last year, and I told you, and you're like, why aren't you a broker? So I, and I said, I was doing office management work too, and you're like, well, you're going to be doing that for yourself now, so we're going to fix that.
So you just recently got your broker license?
Yeah, in June. Now that the heavy calls have started to slow down a little bit, now I'm able to start really putting that to use, and I've started doing some more contacts and things like that now that I have a moment to breathe.
So let's talk about rentals. So how do you go about finding your listings? Because you don't really rely upon the MLS for your listings much. Obviously, you have access to that.
Oh, sure.
But you get a lot of your own listings, is that right?
Sure, yeah. Well, the last place I was at, a lot of the clients followed me over, but the thing is they wouldn't have followed me over had I not made, good speaking with them, getting to know them, understanding what their actual needs are. Because every client, in my case landlord, they all have their specifics, their red flags, their must-haves, even the ones that are a little bit more, overall good application. So, I stayed in contact with all these people. I remembered little things like, their birthdays, who's trying to get into what college, and things like that, and generally just a good repertoire, and, you know, and then every month I follow up with them. I just, in fact, checked my email, and I've got someone that gave me a listing because I followed up with them yesterday.
So if you were to not come over from a firm that had those contacts, how would you go about
Well-
starting from scratch? Finding
Well,
those?
starting from scratch, you know, the way that those clients had came through was just reading the plaques on the buildings, but not the big buildings, because they already have, you know, their own inside group. You want to look for like, you know, the 4-unit, 6-unit places, you know, where they have like, you know, like the obvious ones, the handwritten signs, you know, and then also, you know, just being in good contact with one, I've gotten referrals
Sure.
from another.
So basically, just to make sure everyone's clear on what she's referring to, does everyone know what she means? You see a managed by sign, or if you see for rent with a phone number, that's what we're talking about, she picks up the phone and calls, right?
Yeah, and you know, the other way I do it too is when I get the application back and the credit check. Well, I actually do call these landlords and verify, you know, and I'll call them and says, "Hi, is this Bob? Yeah, I'm Lori with Kale. I have one of your tenants here. She applied for one of my listings and I wanted to verify her tenancy, you know, and just to verify all this information."
How smart is that?
And then, you know, they're obviously gonna be needing a new tenant.
I've never thought of that. That's the first, you guys get that? It's brilliant. Nobody's ever said that to me. How smart is
You know,
that?
they're obviously gonna be needing a new tenant, so I'll say to them, I says, well, have you filled that unit? You know, and
great.
once in a while, they'll be like, you know what, why don't you come by? But most of the time, you know, they'll say, well, you know, I might have someone this and that, so no problem. You know, I just, I know the address of the building, so now I know the landlord's name, so I send a letter to the landlord.
What does the letter say?
Well, you know, it's pretty much, it says, "Hi Bob," I keep it, you know, kind of loosey-goosey. Thanks for speaking with me yesterday. I know you're busy, but if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. You know, and I do it in handwriting. I write the envelope in handwriting. The reason being, people who see type,
Yeah.
they think it's junk.
Right.
Someone that took 2 seconds to write something, then they're like, oh, well, maybe I should open it.
Makes sense. So, prospecting, she's walking around looking for buildings that have managed by and for rent signs with phone numbers, and then also calling during the credit check period the previous tenant or landlord saying, hey, by the way, my client's moved out. What's going on with that unit? You need some help getting it rented, right? What about, have you ever had a client that needed a place but you couldn't find a property on the MLS or in your own database? Did you ever just start calling via Craigslist some of those listings going, hey, I have somebody that might want to see this, will you pay a commission? Have you ever done that?
Sure, you know, the way you do it on those is you call it up and say, hi, I'm calling about the place on Superior. And then see how they respond, and then they're like, well, I've got a client that might want to take a peek. Would you be interested in that? Before I even talk about money, anything, I just want to be on friendly terms first.
Sure.
So, I see here that you're saying that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I got someone, they've already done their credit. They're really good. It's just that the last place got sucked out from under them. So they're ready to go. I always put myself in the position that I'm doing someone a favor, versus, the hard sell, because nobody likes to be sold to, but people like to buy things.
That's true. So what about staying in touch with the tenants? Have you started to think about educating them on taking the next step to buying?
Yes, I have. Because it's the beginning of September, the first thing I did is, now I know where they live, is I'm writing everybody a cute little letter. They're in my purse right now. Just saying, hey, hope, the move-in went well. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me, Because it's like, even though I'm not the property manager, I can certainly pass along a memo.
Right.
Because it makes the landlords happy too, for the fact that, hey, they didn't get, this taken care of yet. So it's like a little reminder for their maintenance people, but without being pushy.
So you're basically staying in touch, you're writing the tenant a thank you letter,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know that at some point they have to make a decision towards the end of that lease anyway.
Yeah.
So do you keep track of that, or how do you know?
Yeah, like I said, now that I've had a moment to breathe, I've actually started to restructure my CRM a bit. I'm still on the spreadsheets. I am interested in the Buffini products. It's just that, let me get settled first. But, that's the first step, is I want to just, keep them happy, because the way I always see it is, hey, especially in roommate situations, they tend to move every year. So either they're going to be moving next year, or if, maybe they become a couple or something like that. Now that I have a broker license, maybe they might be interested in stepping it up and getting a cute little condo or something. So, it's something to chat with people, just to keep them in the loop. And one of the nice things is, by sending them this little letter, I've established, a little bit longer business relationship. One of the things I did at the last place is I designed the Christmas cards, holiday cards, excuse me. And that's something that I'm already planning on doing for this year, is now I have the CRM put together, I know who to start mailing out to. But again, I'm going to be handwriting all those addresses.
Good.
That's a lot. Does anyone have any questions for Lori about how she runs her business, how she gets clients, how she gets landlords?
I guess sort of on the other end of it, I used to do a lot of rentals, and when I got my broker, I sort of went away from it, thinking about getting back into it. Maybe 3-4 years ago, it was all Craigslist. Are you doing anything else besides Craigslist to find tenants?
Yeah, so I do post on Craigslist, but I don't spam it. I just put in the once a week, and when it expires, I post again. Sometimes I'll renew it if it gets towards the end of the month, but mostly I just let the listing stay until it expires, and then I repost from scratch. Because otherwise, people start looking at it when you post every day. Number one, Craigslist doesn't like it, but number two, people start thinking that you're some kind of scam. But in addition to that, I also post through Zillow, which used to be the Postlets account, but now it's Zillow. One of the things I found out through Zillow is they don't post who you're with and stuff. So it's important that in the body that you have the full disclosure of the kill information, office information. And also where it says in the blank, your office name, I put in Kill Realty with a whole address and phone number, because otherwise, again, it doesn't show that, so.
Good point.
And with Zillow, it forwards over to Hotpad, Zillow, and Trulia. Now, I noticed too that when I post on MLS, I do choose internet. So.
And that means it distributes to like 300 websites over a couple of days.
And it goes from that, it goes from Apartment List, it goes from apartments.com, and Zumper, I know, are 3 for sure. And the thing with when you post on MLS to have syndicate is some of the syndicates really don't show a whole lot of information as far as terms. And I really don't, if I have a very strict landlord that you must have a 700 credit score or don't talk to me, and I do, then I want to make sure that that information is in the terms. Unfortunately, with some of the MLS syndications, it doesn't show these kinds of terms that I want to make sure people are seeing. So when I post in the general remarks for people to read, I will put the terms in there.
Smart.
Even though, yeah, the agent remarks has all this, if it's that important, I'm gonna put it in the general remarks too.
Any other questions for Lori?
Yes.
Do you make a distinction between what you'll put in the MLS and what you won't put in the MLS?
Oh, no. If I put a listing on Craigslist, then that same information is gonna carry over to MLS, because I don't ever want people thinking that I'm telling one group of people one thing and another group of people another.
I think he's asking, if you get a listing, how do you determine whether to put it on the MLS or try to rent it out yourself?
Right.
Most places I do put on MLS.
Why do you do that?
Well, I just want to get more coverage. I mean, at the end of the day, I gotta make sure that my client's happy. The only ones that I'll pull back is, number one, I know it's gonna go fast and I don't need the extra help. If I have a listing that's $800 for 2 bedrooms in Logan Square, it's gonna go, I can pretty much just, holler out the window and then people come running, But the other ones is where I discovered that it can be rather difficult to maintain a good commission, is if I have an agreement with the client to only accept maybe 75% of first month's rent, and now I gotta